Have you ever stopped to ponder why we breathe or why plants need sunlight? These are questions that might seem simple at first glance, but they touch on the very essence of life itself. In this exploration, we'll be diving into two of the most fundamental processes that keep life ticking: photosynthesis and respiration. Photosynthesis and respiration, two terms you might have come across in a biology class or perhaps in a casual conversation about nature. They may sound a bit complex, but don't worry. We're not about to turn this into a full-blown science lecture. Instead, we'll be touching on what they are at their core and why they're so crucial to life as we know it. Photosynthesis, the process through which green plants, algae, and some bacteria convert light energy, usually from the sun, into chemical energy in the form of glucose or food. It's how plants feed themselves and in the process produce oxygen, the very gas we animals need to breathe and survive. On the flip side, we have respiration. Now, this isn't just the breathing we humans do. It's a process that happens in every living cell, be it in plants, animals, or microorganisms. Respiration is essentially the process of breaking down glucose to release energy, which is then used for various life-sustaining activities. And the byproduct? Carbon dioxide, the very gas plants need for photosynthesis. So you see, photosynthesis and respiration are like two sides of the same coin. They're interconnected, each fueling the other, creating a beautiful cycle of life. It's a dance of nature, a dance that keeps life on Earth flourishing. But why should you care? Well, every breath you take, every bite of food you eat, every leaf that unfurls in the spring, it all comes down to these two processes. They're the silent forces powering life on our planet, from the tiniest microorganism to the tallest tree. So let's delve a little deeper into these two vital processes, starting with photosynthesis. A photosynthesis, a word derived from the Greek words photo, meaning light, and synthesis, meaning putting together. Now, let's unfold the magic behind this process that is as poetic as its name. Imagine a plant basking in the sunlight, soaking up the rays. This is where photosynthesis begins. The radiant energy of the sun is the spark that sets off the extraordinary process of converting light energy into chemical energy. It's like the plant version of cooking, where sunlight is the heat source. The leaves of the plant, laced with green pigment called chlorophyll, capture this sunlight. Chlorophyll is like a solar panel, absorbing the light energy and using it to transform carbon dioxide and water, absorbed from the soil and air, into glucose and oxygen. Glucose, a simple sugar, is the plant's food, the product of this beautiful reaction. This is how plants feed themselves, a self-sustaining system that doesn't need a grocery store or a delivery app. But photosynthesis is not just a private feast for plants. It's a grand banquet that benefits the entire planet. The oxygen, a byproduct of this process, is released into the atmosphere. And guess who needs that oxygen? Yes, we do, along with all other oxygen-breathing creatures. Moreover, by absorbing carbon dioxide, a greenhouse gas, plants help to mitigate climate change. It's like they're our very own little green superheroes, fighting off the villains of global warming, one carbon dioxide molecule at a time. Photosynthesis is also the foundation of the food chain. The glucose produced feeds not just the plant, but when herbivores munch on these plants and carnivores on these herbivores, this energy is passed along, fueling life as we know it. And that, in essence, is photosynthesis, a crucial process that keeps our world green and thriving. It's a testament to the intricate and beautiful interconnections of life on Earth, a silent, humble process that fuels the heartbeat of our biosphere. Now let's shift gears and dive into the process of respiration. Respiration is a vital process that takes place in every living organism, from the tiniest bacteria to the largest blue whale, and of course, us humans. But what is respiration exactly? Unlike photosynthesis, which is exclusive to plants, respiration happens in all living cells. It's the process by which our bodies convert the food we eat into the energy we need to survive and thrive. Think of it as the body's very own power plant, tirelessly working to keep the lights on. The role of oxygen in respiration is absolutely crucial. Oxygen is like the spark in a combustion engine. It sets the whole process into motion. When we breathe in, our bodies take in oxygen from the air. This oxygen then travels through our bloodstream all the way to our cells. There it reacts with glucose, a simple sugar that our bodies derive from the food we eat. This reaction between oxygen and glucose in our cells is referred to as cellular respiration. It's a chemical process that breaks down glucose and releases energy in the form of ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. ATP is like the currency of energy in our bodies. It's what powers our muscles when we run, our brains when we think, and our hearts when we love. But respiration doesn't just produce energy, it also produces carbon dioxide and water as byproducts. These are then expelled from our bodies when we exhale, completing the respiration cycle. So, in essence, respiration is an intricate symphony of chemical reactions that power life as we know it. It's a process that connects us to the world around us, for the oxygen we breathe comes from the plants and trees, and the glucose we need comes from the food we eat. Respiration, then, is not just about breathing, it's about fueling life itself. At first glance, photosynthesis and respiration might seem like opposites, but are they really? Let's delve into the depths of these fascinating processes. Photosynthesis, as we've learned, is the process by which green plants and some other organisms use sunlight to synthesize foods with the aid of chlorophyll pigments. It's essentially a process that converts light energy, usually from the sun, into chemical energy in the form of glucose or other sugars. These sugars are then used by the plant for growth and energy. On the other hand, respiration is an entirely different ballgame. This process takes place in the cells of almost every living organism, not just plants. It involves the breakdown of glucose to produce energy, which is then used for various cellular activities. Essentially, respiration is the process that takes the glucose created by photosynthesis and turns it into usable energy. So, what are the differences? Well, photosynthesis takes place in the chloroplasts of green plant cells, while respiration happens in the mitochondria of most cells. Photosynthesis uses carbon dioxide and water and produces glucose and oxygen. Respiration, on the contrary, uses glucose and oxygen and produces carbon dioxide, water, and energy. It's like a beautiful dance, isn't it? Photosynthesis and respiration are two halves of a cycle, each process providing the necessary ingredients for the other. The oxygen produced during photosynthesis is used in respiration, while the carbon dioxide produced during respiration is used in photosynthesis. However, while they are interconnected, it's important to note that not all organisms carry out both processes. Green plants, algae, and certain bacteria can perform photosynthesis, but all organisms, including humans, perform respiration. In some, photosynthesis and respiration may seem like they're at odds, but they're more like two sides of the same coin. Each process complements and relies on the other, forming a cycle that sustains life on our planet. So while they may seem like polar opposites, photosynthesis and respiration are interconnected, each providing the necessary elements for the other to occur. So, what are the key differences between photosynthesis and respiration that we should remember? Well, let's start with the basics. Photosynthesis and respiration, while interconnected, are two distinct processes. Photosynthesis is all about creation. It's the process by which green plants, algae, and some bacteria convert light energy, usually from the sun, into chemical energy in the form of glucose. This process takes place in the chloroplasts of plant cells, using water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight. The end products, oxygen, which is released into the atmosphere, and glucose, which is used for growth and development. On the other hand, respiration is about energy release. It's a process that occurs in all living organisms, including plants. Through respiration, glucose is broken down in the presence of oxygen to release energy, which is then used for various life processes. This happens in the mitochondria of the cells. The byproducts here are carbon dioxide and water. Now you might be thinking, wait a minute, Aren't these processes just the reverse of each other? You're quite right. These two processes are like two sides of the same coin. Photosynthesis takes in carbon dioxide and releases oxygen, while respiration does the exact opposite. This beautiful cycle is what keeps life on Earth going. It's also important to note that while photosynthesis only occurs in certain organisms and only when there's sunlight, respiration happens all the time in all living organisms. That's another key difference to keep in mind. These processes are not just scientific phenomena, they are the very essence of life on Earth. They play a vital role in maintaining the balance of oxygen and carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. They provide the energy that fuels growth and activity. They are the fundamental processes that sustain life. And there you have it, the fascinating dance between photosynthesis and respiration, two processes that quite literally breathe life into our world.